let's start this off by speaking about Coach Jose. A true plumber. Somebody who arrived at a house that he did not know that had so many different problems. But he was willing to roll up his sleeves and get his hands dirty, fixing a lot of the problems and dealing with a lot of, you know what. But somebody who at the end of the day managed to get everything working and fixing all of the pipes. The pipeline to trophies. 5 trophies in 3 years. The pipeline for the kids to get into the team. Dlozi, Silepe, Nkotha, Mbogazi. Tonight we saw dancing. All of these people came in, including Aborili, who were already on their way, but including all of those players. You know, Coach Jose showed us that you don't have to be loud to be a good coach. You don't have to be smart and tactical and say all of these things and perform to be a good coach. In fact, most of the time it looked like he didn't even want to speak to us. He showed us that you don't need time. First season, no preseason. Arrived, worked with what he had, won 2 trophies. Second season, continues on the progression, wins 2 more trophies, 1 lost trophy in his final year. Deals with so much stuff. For people who are talking about injuries and things like that, hey, Ksesa Nenda, Koki. People who speak about players that maybe for whatever reason you can't use, Saleng, Tim. Dealing with management, dealing with all of those things. He showed us that you can deal with all of those things and still win. He came in and respected the culture that exists at Orlando Pirates. He came in and looked at how they played and understood that his job was not to change Pirates, but it was to add some things. This season, I've said, Pirates looked like an incredible team that wasn't that fluid going forward. It wasn't doing all of the scoring they were doing last year, but they were solid, unbeaten in the Champions League. Because he added a dimension of, you know, being boring, understanding games, understanding opinions, still the coach of the biggest big game team in the country, Orlando Pirates. That is what I remember Coach Jose as. Coach Jose Rivero will be remembered for me as a master of moments, a man who could script games almost. He knew what to do, when to do it, how to change. What you were expecting, what you weren't expecting. How to subvert that. And I think his reward is that he gets to walk out on his own accord, on his own terms. Not many coaches get that luxury or love. So he will be missed dearly. I think South African football is going to miss out on quite a bit. And maybe next season would have been the season for him to really put together all of the lessons and win a league or win a Champions League or do whatever. Unfortunately, he is leaving. So that's that on that. But what better send-off than a 3-0 win versus Golden Arrows? Now, when we go into that game, I think Pirates showed glimpses of that uber dangerous Pirates that existed before. Escotini is a place where you can go from 1-0 to 4-0 very quickly. And it can get very hot in that stadium. I think the defense, in the past few games, Coach Jose has elected to sort of break the structure of Pirates and play a lot more attacking. It hasn't worked out in all the games. So if you think about the final versus Kaizer Chiefs, towards the end of that game when he was putting in the subs, it looked a lot like what it was today. Hoto is up top. Fukeng, Mabasa, Nkotha. You have Shandu up in the box. You have Dlamini, which makes it about five or six players that are in attacking positions, which maybe Golden Arrows should have taken advantage of. Golden Arrows found themselves with a bit of space when attacking Orlando Pirates, especially on transition. I think they the idea of going wide with Abosibia and bringing the ball back in was an idea that could work, but at times, again, decision making seems to be the major stumbling block of PSL teams, because if they'd made better decisions, you think about the curler from Usbia, you think about the ball across, you think about some of the balls where they've tried to turn around instead of playing the ball through. You look at Golden Arrows and you say, well, you've come close again. Well, not close, but you've come and played versus Pirates relatively okay, but you come away with nothing because of those fundamentals that you guys are missing. I think the people that let them down the most was the defense, because, you know, a lot of people think that having a ton of defenders is how you block the other team. They just call having a ton of bodies a low block. But if it's uncoordinated, spaces will always open up. Okay, so I know I stopped the video a lot, and a lot of you are wondering, why are you asking for money? So I wanted to show you. I asked for money because I want to do more of this. Huh? But the truth of the matter is that it took over an hour in order just to render that shot. And it takes even longer when I'm doing my normal content because, guys, here's the unsung hero of the channel. And unfortunately, Shem, wazama, but the screen is broken. I have to use a second screen and the performance is not up to it. So I'd really love to upgrade things like that. And when you look over here, this is what the setup looks like. Rehenga di patlo and rehenga di green screen, which is a reality of being a South African content creator. Also, this is what people think is my studio. Is actually my house. So if you still don't know that I'm doing all of this from my home, then I don't know. But that is essentially what I want to do. More of these cool things. But I need you guys to please help me out by donating 50 Rand or more into this account. You know, we're fighting for multi-choice. And multi-choice, but there are subscription models all over the place. And I'd love to give the biggest quality while also being able to pay my rent and do things like that. That is where your money is going. And I promise to give you only the best content that I can if you do throw something in. So I just wanted to show you guys what I want to do with your money. I want to take this South African football and fulfill my dream of taking it into the future. But thank you guys so much. Remember, this is the bank account that you deposit into. Get back into the video. And what Golden Arrows failed to do in this game was to make sure that one of Pirates' big weaknesses, their build-up up the middle, their build-up play, the long balls that they love to play towards the wingers, when you force them to play those balls, they weren't putting that pressure on Pirates. So Mfukeng and Nkota got a lot of joy going 1v1 versus defenders with ball at feet. I've been saying for the past few weeks that Nkota and Mfukeng are ball at feet type players that need to take people on directly. So Golden Arrows allowed that. Positionally, they don't talk. They don't position themselves. They were so ill-disciplined. I think if Pirates had found the box a couple more times, they would have scored 4, 5, 6 goals in this game. Let's speak about Pirates. I want to highlight 2 players. That is insane what they're doing. It's insane. Guys, Mbogazi is fearless. And while everybody gives him credit for his physicality, his willingness to call for the ball, his willingness to, if nobody wants to come and fetch the ball, I'll be the playmaker. The passing, the range, the confidence to turn, to play a certain way, even in dangerous situations, has to be admired for a player who wasn't even in anybody's thoughts in the beginning of the season, who just made his debut for the derby a couple of weeks ago, who was thrust into African football. I think Mbogazi is one of the finds of the season. He plays the Nda role in this defense, and Nda used to play a role where he would be the primary ball handler of the defense, sometimes even starving the midfield, and he'd be tasked with playing those long balls. So to have a teenager step into that is insane. I want to highlight Usilepe, because Usilepe did something that personally I've been asking Pirates to do this whole season. Who is going to take the responsibility of dropping back in and fetching the ball? It's a tough job. It's a hot job. It's a pressured job. But in comes Motsepe and shows equal fearlessness as Umbogazi. In fact, they connect quite a bit in order to move Pirates up the center. Those two playing that way then allows Dlamini to play a certain way. And you start to see the possibilities of central play from Orlando Pirates, moving away from the wide play. Not to say that the wide play isn't effective, but having to build cutty corner or long balls really does take away a lot of what Pirates does very well. I think Kota has matured a little bit. We saw some of the moves he was making, the cross ball he plays to Urile is something that old Nkota would not do. Maybe we just need the boy to be more active when he gets into that box, similar to what Umfukeng does, especially if you're 1v1, in order to open up the spaces. But he has grown in leaps and bounds. You speak about Mabasa, people forget that Mabasa scored, 16 goals last season in the league. Yes, this season Mahopa has taken over and maybe Pirates wasn't playing the type of football, but there's a small reminder that he finishes. Now, weaknesses still exist in Pirates. Like I said, Shandu and Hoto both going up and leaving the two defenders could have been punished a lot easier, especially owing to the fact that Makaula is also alone in the middle, possibly even tired from the season, and Motsepe was sitting on a yellow card very early, so he couldn't be as active. So I was expecting Golden Arrows to take advantage of pulling the centre backs out of position. Not necessarily Mbogazi, but more Usbisi on the other side. Try pull them out. They still struggle, like I said, to build up that ball. Pirates struggles to get the ball all the way up the pitch. That's why at the end of the first half, they finish it with 6 shots, 1 on target. Yes, they have possession, but the type of chance they were creating is not a very high chance. I know Hoto missed the 1v1 that he should have put away. I know there's some shots that were a little bit wild. But for the most part, I think Pirates struggles to find the box and to find the movement. The experiment of Mfukeng being a wing and a 10 is interesting, and maybe it is part of his progression as a player, but for now it still looks a bit sloppy. Luckily today they played a Golden Arrows team that, they don't know how to defend. They don't know their jobs. They don't know what to do. Frankly, they have no idea how to position themselves, how to track runners. So you started seeing Pirates knocking the ball around a little bit more easier. I think there comes a time where you have to question Coach Manqoba, because this team is lying number 14. It's probably going to get worse. And in the last five games, for example, they've lost 3. This will be the 4th loss, and they've drawn 2 of the last 6. I understand that it's a completely different place. Completely different place. Like it's not Sundowns, it's not caviar, it's not sushi. It's hard work. And maybe now we see that as great of a coach as Coach Manqoba was, he's been at the best place for 12 years. You can't expect that coach to log back in and plug back into the type of struggles that the lower teams face. We saw Steve Kompela go through the same issues. His team does play. Like they in turn can build up the ball. They know how to get the ball out. Changed a bit when Watenga got injured, but they know how to get the ball up. It's just the final third is letting them down completely. And maybe if they could inject some pace into that, similar to what Coach Manqoba wanted to do at Sundowns, it could be a completely different team. But for now, they're still going to struggle. I think Tanti is a great player. I think CB is a great player. But they're just not talking to each other or connecting properly when they get over the line. Was it Undwandwe who wasn't holding that midfield properly? 3-0 to Pirates. I think incredible send-off for Coach Jose. He's going to go off and allegedly go to the north. But he leaves behind an incredible legacy and an incredible foundation for the next coach that walks in. It's yet to be seen whether Pirates will be a pressure situation for a new coach, whether Pirates will truly embrace chasing trophies, or if they will still have a plumber who's quiet, who does things a little bit differently and wins trophies. it wouldn't be the first time they've done this sort of thing. You think about Zimbabwe. So well done to Orlando Pirates, and yeah, good luck and goodbye to Coach Jose. You'll be missed. I'll see you guys on the next one.